Hey there everybody, thanks for pressing play. In this video I want to show you this car here. This is a one owner 2016 Hyundai iX20. This particular one is a 1.4 petrol version, and it's also what's called a deluxe model. And if you're somebody that's looking for a car that's high off the ground like an SUV, but you don't want the expense or the bulkiness of an SUV in terms of parking, then this is definitely something worth considering. Anyway, Brian's my name and we are Fitzpatricks Garage, Dublin Road, Kildare. So if there's any information you want on the car, call, text, WhatsApp 086 843 1945. What we'll do in the videos, we're going to have a look around the car, features on the inside and the outside, and we're going to drive the car as well. And hopefully by the end of the video, you'll have a better idea if it's something that if it's something worth considering for you. Let's just start off with a couple of quick features on the outside. The wheels are diamond cut. The significance of that is they're quite nice, shiny and reflective when they're in the sun. And even things like the door handles have small little bits of chrome on them as well. This colour is what's called a white sand. So it's a nice champagne colour. And the car, like we were saying, is a one owner vehicle from new. Actually a relative of somebody that runs the garage here. So the nice thing about something like that is it's a nice honest car, and we know the history on the vehicle too. This 2016 is an updated version. It's a facelift of the iX20, so it got a much nicer big chrome grille on the front, and then after that, nice things like front fog lights are standard down low on the bumper too. For me, really, on these cars, it's the pragmatism of them. If you look behind it, that Mercedes Jeep, that is a larger SUV. This is a smaller, easier to park car. But look at the height profile on the roof on both. That's what I'm saying to you. This car, it actually gives you a nice high driving position with great visibility, without the bulkiness of parking that size of a car, and definitely without the cost. These iX20s are incredibly comfortable. So what I mean is, you get into the car, the first thing actually that stands out in these cars is actually the fact that it has an armrest over here, and the seats are high and they're really supportive. Again, as I say, these are a really undervalued car. People actually don't realise how good they are overall. And it's only once you actually start to drive one and sit in one you realise that they're really, really comfortable. This is a small car, but it's actually got a nice high driving position, excellent visibility all the way around. We'll have a look at it in a sec. And like I said, the seat's really supportive. Again, depending on your build, you'll find there's good support on the seat on either side. So when you're sitting in it, it's very, very snug. The steering wheel then obviously is going to have a rake reach function as well. So it goes in and out, and it goes up and down as well. And like I was saying to you, remember I said there's great visibility. You got this big window over here, you have the fly window over there. There's a really big windscreen in front of you as well. And because of where I'm sitting in the car, I've just got a lot of glass around me. So it's a really nice car. One thing I always notice with these, I just don't know why, I've just found them a really pleasurable car to drive. And I'll be honest, they are not a striking looking car, they're not an exciting looking car. They're grand and plain and tidy and straightforward, but they are really underrated when it comes to the whole car overall. It's really, really well thought out, straightforward, not big chunky car on the road, but more straightforward, easy to maneuver, but high off the ground. You just get the same feeling that you get from an SUV, even though it's not quite as big and it's definitely not as expensive. I think they're probably one of the last of the more really straightforward cars. Over here, the radio, I've got a volume knob, I've got these presets. It's straightforward stuff. It's got a CD player, but most people these days, in fairness, they will use USB down through there, and there's an auxiliary in through here as well. Heating controls, big buttons, easy to use, very straightforward. Maybe I'm getting old, but all this stuff is just really simple and straightforward. A clock, an external temperature gauge. The clocks in the centre then are nice and big and bright, so straightforward, easy to use, and there's also trip information from the steering wheel for things like fuel efficiency and how much fuel is left in the car. The lights are actually automated, so you can leave them sitting on auto and they'll come on themselves at night, and then the wipers over here are very straightforward to use. Another useful feature on these cars then, if you are thinking about upgrading once you're in reverse, you end up with parking sensors, which are straightforward and easy to use as well. Just for somebody that's coming out of an older car, they may not have had it before. And lastly, before we get going then, electrics for windows and mirrors over here. And then in here, just various controls for turning off the parking sensors, traction control, which is always on, height of the lights, brightness of the dash, and the auto stop start function, which basically stops the engine running when you're in traffic if it sees the ability to save some fuel. And actually, the other thing as well is the heating controls, not sure if I said already, they have air conditioning as well, especially this time of year. I think it's also worth pointing out, this is a nice low mileage one. The car's travelled just under 39,000 kilometres. So, like I said, I have my armour set up. If I had drinks or anything I wanted to store, I'd put them in through here. A little bit more storage as well. And in through here, another 12-volt outlet as well. And yes, I know I keep saying it, but this is, like we were saying to you, really well thought out, pragmatic car. Anyway, we're going to go for a quick drive in the car, and then when we're back, we're going to have a look in the interior of the car, like the seats, the rear seats. They've got a clever trick as well. So driving the car, you'd expect great visibility like I talked about already, because you're high and because the windows are nice and big as well. This particular example, it drives really nice, and the engine and the gearbox and the clutch and the brakes, everything feels really good. and the car will be serviced when it goes into our workshop. We always provide 12 months warranty on cars like these. The only thing I have noticed over the years, however, these cars have been super reliable, so we really have had no trouble with them. So it's one of the cars that I'd say is probably the most straightforward and easy to run. Again, great visibility. These are the kind of reasons that visibility is good. When you're crossing a junction, it's great to have a really good panoramic view all the way around. So it is a comfortable seat and the car drives well. So other things in the car then, in terms of the seat, we've already seen how adjustable it is, and we've seen how supportive the seats are as well. And the condition on the interior of the car, in my opinion, is very nice. Another thing about these cars then is there's actually really good room in the back. The headroom is savage. It's really good. There's massive headroom. I've got kangaroo pockets on both sides along here. Rear electrics obviously and all that kind of stuff. Head restraints in through the back as well. But there is a lot of space back here. So if you sit in a car like this, you'll definitely get a feeling of space, and you'll also get a visibility, or a feeling even of visibility all the way around as well. Like I was saying to you, it feels like an SUV, but it's not. But it's big. And as we were saying already, it's got a clever feature in the boot as well. So, sorry, in the back seats even. So if I go around to the seat, like you'd have in the front of a car, you have a lever here, and that actually allows you to move the seat that far forward. So, you know, it's quite a significant amount. Now, okay, I know it doesn't leave as much room here, but if you had something slightly awkward that you want to transport, you can see the gap has gone forward, and sometimes that's just enough to make a difference. However, if you want, you can drop those seats forward, and then you get this massive load area that's basically comparable to a car style van, except for it's much higher. So you can get some really tall objects into the back of the car. The blue floor also has adjustability, so if I pull this and I drop it, I can then end up with a much bigger boot. In other words, I'm gaining that depth there. So really handy for carrying stuff, but for most everyday usage, I think it's better to have it at the high level, because when you're putting stuff in and out, you're just sliding in and out without having to worry about the lip. As we saw already, there's quite a bit of adjustability on the seats, and another thing because of that is they have a recline function, so you can have them at different levels going backwards depending what you want. Other things we're talking about are the car has 3-point safety belts, it's got ISOFIX on each side for child seats, and there's also an armrest in the centre of the rear too. And in terms of safety overall, it's got things like anti-lock brakes, it's got emergency brake assist, it's got steel bars down the side for side impact protection, it has airbags in the front, it has airbags in the side. So again, like I'm saying to you, this car, super pragmatic, really nice to drive, really nice to sit in, not overly expensive, safe car, easy car to run. There is really an awful lot of positive things on a car like this, especially at this price point. And it's like we're saying to you, it's a car that's underrated and sometimes overlooked. So there you have it. That is a iX20. If you want any more information, call, text, WhatsApp 086 843 1945. Car will be supplied with an NCT and warranty. And like we're saying, it's a nice, tidy car. So hopefully the video has been useful. Thanks for taking time to watch, and hopefully after watching the video, you have a better idea why these cars, I think they're really good.